is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
Well, the trend continues around here. Never a dull moment, and hopefully at the end of this day, we won't have more breaking news after this edition of Mick Shots. This is a Thursday edition of Mick Shots. Bill Jones along with Mickey Spagnola inside the SWBC Mortgage Studios here at Ford Center at the Star in Frisco, and we've got Everson Walls. He is hard at work jotting notes down as we speak. It's all that research that he has done the last 24 hours. Hello, Everson. How you doing?
That's our guy.
Hey, I'm doing well. I just want to let you guys know I have an adjustment to my sack count for D. Lawrence.
It was a Sports Illustrated jinx yesterday, as Everson yesterday said that his pick to click was DeMarcus Lawrence, that he'll have 2 sacks of Justin Herbert. Well,
I guarantee.
That's right. You guarantee.
Write it down. Write it down.
So he's going to make an adjustment on that prediction, and it continues a trend that started back last Friday when it was after we signed off from Mick Shots that we learned about the Lyle Collins 5-game suspension. Of course, Michael Gallup was ruled out for about 3 to 5 weeks at that point too, and then Monday, I think it was, when the Randy Gregory COVID occurred, and then of course yesterday it's DeMarcus Lawrence. And Mickey, you can start us off with an update on what you know as DeMarcus with the fractured foot had to undergo surgery.
So I laugh when I hear fractured foot. Is it like the whole foot just kind of cracks in half?
By the way, before you get into it, we should also point out that Mickey kind of tipped this off at the end of yesterday's show because DeMarcus Lawrence was scheduled to meet with the media after practice yesterday, which coincided basically with the end of the show, and you peered outside and you saw that DeMarcus was not...
Something didn't smell.
It's like, when you've been doing this long enough, sometimes your antennas just kind of go up.
Because the injury occurred after the open open session for the media as far as practice.
Actually, they were in some sort of drill. Mike McCarthy said they were doing one-on-one pass rush, and he came around, turned the corner, and fractured the 5th metatarsal in his right foot.
And guess what, Everson? Mickey has experience with a fractured 5th metatarsal in his foot. Imagine that.
I did it 20 years ago.
Well, see, now Spags, no, I thought it was when Spags got hit by a car.
No,
this was 20 years ago.
This was 20 years ago playing tennis. But anyway, I'll get to that in a second
you're
here.
You're definitely not tougher then if you were playing tennis.
Yeah, right.
I'm sorry, I can't give you that kind of love.
So he ends up fracturing the 5th metatarsal in his right foot. So that's the bone on the outside that goes up into your little toe. And in 2014, end of training camp, he fractured the 5th metatarsal in his right foot. So this is 2 for this one. When he left practice on the injury report, he left as limited foot, and by morning it was surgery, 5th metatarsal. And what they do is they put a little screw in there to help facilitate a faster healing of that very small bone. But it's when you hear somebody breaks a bone in their foot, it's usually the 5th metatarsal for some reason. You never break any of the others, it seems like, unless somebody stomps on you. For him, I remember when we got back to the Star, at the ranch, and I remember sitting there talking to him about that 5th metatarsal, and he was in a boot, and I don't know. I can't remember I think they did surgery back then. So he ended up, and remember the IR rules were different. So I believe he missed 8 games. and then
Which was
came
the
back and
minimum
finished
amount of
out
time
the
at that point.
And that was the minimum, right?
Yep.
At that point. So here's the deal, and here's my experience. So when I fractured mine, Dr. Fowler was the one who X-rayed it, which is real funny. And this is not funny, but you're going to laugh. So
because it's Mickey.
The X-ray technician. I'm sitting in the room, right, and the guy comes in and puts the X-ray up on the screen, and he's looking at it, and all of a sudden he goes, "Oh yeah, there it is, right there." It was like celebrating that he found where the fracture was. I was like, "No, this is not a celebration, right?" So Dr. Fowler, who's one of the Cowboys.
So wait, that's Dr. Fowler. I will make
assistant.
sure not go there if I ever break my...
No, he didn't do it. His assistant
too
did
happy
it.
to find it.
But Dr. Fowler is one of the Cowboys' assistant doctors. And he comes in and kind of explains it. We're going to put you in a boot. And he goes, now, if your livelihood depended on your foot, we would do surgery, put a screw in there, and you probably could get back and play 4 weeks, maybe 6. But since you're not an athlete, then you're out for 2 months.
Oh.
Since clearly you're not an athlete,
Right.
just looking at you.
And I think he meant a professional
He took a good look at you.
I think he meant a professional
No,
athlete.
he took a good look at you when you first walked into the office and said, "This guy, he's a lost cause." That's what he said.
So I'm thinking, since they did the surgery on Lawrence, the soonest he could get back is that first game after the bye. That would be, I think, the best that could happen. So that would be, what, 5 games.
Plus the bye week.
Plus the bye week, plus the week to get ready for the next game. So that's almost
sounds familiar. Sounds just like Collins.
Yeah, with his suspension. So now here are the Cowboys going into a game where they gonna need some pressure on Justin Herbert, the best quarterback that Gil Brandt has ever seen. And they're without probably their 2 starting defensive ends. Randy Gregory still in the protocol.
Every time we play somebody, they are the best we've ever seen. I mean, first is Tom Brady. Now you're saying this guy is better than Tom Brady now. So here we go. Every week is going to be somebody's the best at their
I
position
just quoted your buddy Gil. That's all.
My buddy.
And he was only a junior in college at that time too, by the way.
Yeah. And
well, hey, Gil Brandt. That's a good call now. Gil. I talk trash about Gil, but that is a great call, and he's always had a great eye for talent, and he was not wrong.
And it was the best prospect that he has seen.
Probably,
yes. Best quarterback prospect that he has seen. He wasn't predicting that he's going to be the greatest quarterback of all time.
He wasn't comparing him to Roger Staubach or Bart Starr or Joe Montana.
Okay, so what moves have been made in order to accommodate this injury?
Actually, none yet.
Okay.
DeMarcus Lawrence is still on what is a 52-man roster. And now you've got a combination of Dorrance Armstrong, Terrell Basham, Bradley Anai, and Chauncey Golston as your kind of other 4 backup defensive ends, along with, by the way, I guess I shouldn't forget him, Zur Kamara is in that boat too. And who knows, he may be active this week because they're going to probably need all hands on deck to try to figure out some combination and some way to get pressure on the opposing quarterback.
Do you think they are perusing practice squads around them, especially since this is a multiple week, up to 2-month injury? Do you think that obviously the scouting department is up to speed on what edge rushers are on practice squads around the league? There is one who was in camp with the Cowboys, Rondale Carter, who's on the Arizona practice squad right now.
Right, and then also they have a couple defensive ends on the practice squad. Breland Speaks, I believe, and there's one more that's escaping my mind because I remember looking and they had 2 defensive. Austin Austin, I can't say it.
Falu, who was in training camp and played in preseason games.
Right. So Speaks, I think, has some.
Weren't you a journalist major?
I was not a pronunciation major. I was a written print major. We didn't have to talk, right? Then I found out.
So you're just a copy machine, then.
That's right. Absolutely.
What would you do?
Well, here's one thing. And Mike McCarthy was asked about different people potentially used as a defensive end. Now, it's not a full-time defensive end, but in the portion of practice we were able to watch, Micah Parsons in the individual drills was not working with the linebackers. He was working with the defensive line.
Which he has done throughout the preseason as well. He has spent time working with the defensive line.
And a lot of that is, when he's playing, if they're in base defense and he's a 4-3 outside strong side linebacker, they can rush him off the edge, so he has to kind of sharpen up his pass rush skills. Somebody say, well, they could start him. And I said, if you're playing a 4-3 and Micah Parsons, your strong side or weak side defensive end, and you're putting him there to rush the quarterback, he ain't going to get a chance to rush the quarterback because they're going to run right at his scrawny little butt.
That was Mickey who said that.
I'm not putting a 246-pound guy with his hand on the ground against a 330-pound offensive tackle. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to run right at you.
You didn't have to describe it that way.
Well, okay. I was going to say skinny.
He's scrawny at 240.
Yeah. That's the first time anyone's ever called Micah Parsons scrawny.
Okay. That's like putting those little skinny safeties on the line of scrimmage last year, right?
Well, it's not as bad as maybe Jordan Lewis, though. I mean, I don't think really, Spags, I don't think it's really out of the realm of possibilities that Micah can go in and stifle a running play coming his way. He's quick enough. He's mean enough. He's sure enough, agile enough. You could have said that about, what was DeMarcus, the other DeMarcus we had.
Where?
He was small and scrawny and D. Ware, he was small and scrawny and did good work.
Not for long, though. Not for long.
I'll take this for one game right now. For one game, I'll take the scrawny Micah Parsons up against any offensive lineman that the Chargers have. And when you look at Armstrong and all these guys, I'm hoping that we can have this culture like Baltimore Ravens say. Baltimore Ravens have always dealt with a lot of injuries, all kind of personnel changes when it came to COVID and things of that nature. And they've always been very good, at least a little competent with the next man up philosophy. With the Cowboys, we have enough depth on this team. I think it's time for that culture to emerge for us. Next man up. We don't worry about, yes, D-Law is out. Come on, D-Law is out. I know that's rough. But look, we got Dorrance and we've got Parsons. That's why we brought these guys in here. Let's see what Golston can do. Then we draft this guy.
Yep.
Let's see what our draft picks can do. Put these hungry guys in there, man, and let them work. Quinn's defense is made to where you can throw a lot of stuff at people and you can cover up a lot of brawny 240-pound guys and see how it works out.
Well, and here's the other thing. Somebody asked about Jalen. I don't know about Jalen lining up on the outside, but his best pass rush is in the gaps up the middle, to me. That's where he was the best.
Yes.
And I think they've got some linebackers that they can use in that situation.
All right. And with Parsons, he has experience rushing the passer.
Right.
Going back to high school days. Yes. This is like deja vu all over again for Micah Parsons. You probably have heard the story that he told about his freshman year in high school. He was a backup, and he's a freshman. They're not. You don't typically have freshmen who will start on the varsity football team. Well, they had an injury on their defensive line, and so the coach puts Micah Parsons in there to replace him, even though he was a scrawny linebacker. And what does he do? He came up with the game-winning forced fumble. I think it was a strip sack. I can't remember the exact story, but I do know this. He went on his freshman year in high school to have 18 and a half sacks rushing rushing the passer. The coach had no idea he could do that at the time. Okay?
Whoa, wow.
Right, as a freshman in high school.
So you're looking for another Dak Prescott deal here?
So here it is. It's deja vu all over again where, okay, the former Pro Bowl defensive end goes down for the Cowboys, and I agree with you. You don't play Micah Parsons, at defensive end full time. He can play linebacker, but in pass rush situations,
right.
Line him up at the edge and let him get after it.
See, and here's the good thing about that. If they want him to do that, then if they still want to play their nickel, then you got Keanu Neal and Leighton Vander Esch.
Exactly.
Vander Esch has played in that spot, and his rookie year.
Don't forget about Leighton.
He was very good at it. So that's where your depth comes in. And then with Dorrance Armstrong, by the way, it's one thing to be all Oxnard. Now it's time to be, all
SoFi
whatever.
Stadium.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely. and let's see him step up.
Hey,
We've been hearing about Dorrance, so now it's his time.
I'm excited about Dorrance, but it's just like Nate Newton always said. Same thing, make you laugh, make you cry. Getting back to the scrawny Parsons. When you have a 350-pound guy pulling around, he's got to keep up with that scrawny 240-pound linebacker.
Right.
Quickness can sometimes overwhelm strength. So you got the big guy coming around there. Will he be agile enough to be able to handle the ferociousness and the aggressiveness of Micah Parsons? That remains to be seen.
All right, we're just getting started on this edition of Mixed Shots. Do you have your reads?
I do not.
Okay, Mickey's going to go find
I got him right
his
here.
reads.
I got him right here.
Oh, good. That's what you were working on. All right, Everson's got the reads. When we come back on Mixed Shots in just a moment.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
It's game day. You know what that means. First, kebab prep. Steak, pepper, onion, steak, pepper, onion. Next, a counterclockwise lap around the room. Now the lucky grease-stained jersey goes on. And lastly, the dance. You know the one. This is a game day ritual no matter where you are. Whether you're traveling to the game or watching from your favorite vacation spot, book a place to stay on Hotels.com and keep the tradition alive and well. Hotels.com, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Mixed Shots.
Check out the new Miller Lighthouse located outside AT&T Stadium where Dallas Cowboys game day traditions are born. Enjoy yard games like cornhole, Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders performances, beer gardens, and more. For more information, visit attstadium.com/Miller Lighthouse. Miller Lighthouse, your tailgate just got jealous. Now, cornhole was not on the read, but I'm now promoting cornhole because I'm trying to get Everson Walls an appearance there. I'm acting as Everson's agent since he is the champion cornhole guy.
I caught
here.
that, Bill.
And so,
Thank you.
So I'm thinking the marketing
kicking
people.
Chris's butt.
Yeah, I'm thinking the marketing people will want Everson out there, and Cowboys fans can challenge Everson either this Sunday when you can go out and the Miller Lighthouse will be open, a great place to watch the game on the multiple screens out there, or when the Cowboys come back home for the home opener a week from Monday against the Philadelphia Eagles, and the greatest quarterback Gil Brandt has seen that went to Alabama and then transferred to Oklahoma, Jalen Hurts.
Oh, and by the way,
hey, I'm bringing my own sacks. I'm bringing my personalized sacks with me for cornholing.
I forgot one injury, Leon Lett.
Oh, yeah. We need an update on Leon Lett.
Oh, wow. What is happening with Leon?
It was a quad tendon tear, and he's out for Sunday's game. Not going. He didn't say if he needed.
Who's going to step in? Who's stepping in? Who's
Aiden Dirty is the other assistant defensive line coach. So if Quinn's upstairs, then Aiden's got more responsibility on the ground. But yeah, he got hurt. He said he got.
Has Red ever had major surgery while he played?
I think he had a knee once at least. So he has a torn quad, and he somehow got caught up in the sled. You know, he would stand on the sled, I think, when they were doing those pass rush drills or whatever, and I don't know what went wrong, but it looked bad when he was laying on the cart when they brought him in. So, yeah, no Leon. And by the way, he had surgery also. So Mike announced he's not traveling to L.A. And then there was no Donovan Wilson at practice either.
Yeah, what's the story with Donovan Wilson?
Yeah, he's got a sore groin that it looks like he
bothered him for a
aggravated
little
it.
bit. Yeah,
remember at the end of training camp? But it looks like Malik Hooker's ready to go.
So let's look at since last Thursday.
Yeah,
so it's a week.
It's been look at the IR list.
All right. So what's happened since last Thursday? All right. Michael Gallup got hurt in the game.
IR.
All right. Now, Donovan Wilson, I guess you could say he got hurt in the game, but he's not on IR. He's just not practicing.
Right.
Okay. So that was an aggravated injury coming out of the game. And then what aggravated everybody the next day was Lyle Collins being suspended for 5 games.
Okay, that's 2 starters.
And that aggravated not only him and his agent also.
Right.
And then Zach Martin comes back on Monday, but Randy Gregory, and so did Brandon Knight, got activated on Monday. But Randy Gregory goes on the COVID list.
That's 3 starters.
Okay. Is that 3 or 4?
4 now.
4 starters.
We're going to count Michael Gallup, right?
Yeah, Gallup, right. Gallup, Wilson, Gregory, and Collins. And now we've got DeMarcus Lawrence. So there's 5 starters that started against Tampa Bay that are not going to be here this week.
And Darian Thompson was kind of a starter on special teams, and he's on practice squad IR.
So it hasn't been a good week.
No.
It's
as a matter of fact, it's one of those deals where I suggested the other day, I said when Mike McCarthy lays his head on the pillow at night, he's got to be beating his head on the pillow going, why me? Last year, the offensive line. Now this year, the defensive line.
So when you look at things, there's a reason that this team has so many linebackers. I mean, these are versatile guys, and there's been a lot of talk about snap counts from the Tampa Bay game and the fact that Parsons had around 50 snaps, Keanu Neal as well, and Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith were in the range of 15 snaps in that game. Jabril Cox is another guy that has shown some potential, but it gives this team some flexibility going forward as they weather the storm of these injuries, don't you think?
Yes, I think they've got some guys that can, obviously you're going to play Leighton Vander Esch significantly more snaps in this game, I bet. Jalen,
And even though the injuries have not occurred per se at the linebacker position. That's the thing with this defense and with defenses across the league now. These are more hybrid defenses. It's typically, even though they may say it's a 4-3 or another team may say they run a 3-4, there's so many, especially when you're going to throw the ball 50 times. The Chargers threw it 47 times the other day against Washington. You're in your nickel a whole lot. With a 4-man front, and so and there's different ways that you can use these linebackers.
And it'll be interesting to see how I was going to say San Diego, L.A. Chargers attack the Cowboys defense. Will they go 3 wide or will they stay in a more traditional offense, forcing the Cowboys into more of a base? But even some of their defensive ends, you could look at them as stand-up outside linebackers too, like Anai.
There you go, Spags.
Anai and Golson, who's ready to play.
And even when Gregory
and Kamara,
gets back.
because Kamara now he's kind of small, right? Thin. He's tall.
He's an edge. He's a pass rush
he's
specialist.
He's an edge rusher. Yeah. So they're going to have to lean on these guys, and then here's the deal, score some points. Don't depend on your offense to hold somebody to 17 or 20 points. You may have to score 30 to win.
Hey, that's the MO of this defense, though, Spags. It's always going to be that until we change the culture. We're always going to play off of our offense because it's going to be so powerful. It's usually going to have all the use up all the play clock pretty much every game, so you're going to depend on that. So our defense is usually going to go out there, hopefully in the position, not like in Tampa, but hopefully in the position of playing against an offense that had to react to our offensive success. I'm hoping that's going to be our best case scenario. You start talking about the Chargers, the Washington football team, they have big guys up front. So you could imagine Herbert going up there thinking about running the ball. How many times do you think he audibled from a running play to a passing play because you look at that front seven and you're thinking this is not going to work? The same way the Cowboys had to do when Dak had to change out. Also, the Cowboys did the same thing with Brady. We showed him a look. He audibled. I think they say the audible maybe 20 times from a running play to a passing play. And I think that's going to be the same thing in this game. We're going to force them to throw the ball because we're going to be doing all kind of goofy stuff up front. Probably no one will have their hands on the ground. And that can give a quarterback pause and cause him to audible a lot during the ball game.
Yeah, and speaking of the Chargers' defense, the Redskins did run for 126 yards. So, Zeke, Pollard, maybe even Clement out of the backfield. He's a pretty good pass catcher, too. Probably he might be the fastest one of the bunch. Now, I don't know if he's faster than Pollard, but, he's got some elusiveness to him.
I've got a question for you, Spags. Mm-hmm. I've got a question for you. Mm-hmm. Do you think that Todd Bowles came into the game saying we're not going to let Zeke control this game? We're going to see if Dak Prescott is as ready as he claims to be. So do you think they deliberately forced him to call off run plays and audible to passing plays just to see where he was at?
I absolutely agree with you. Absolutely they did. Because majority of the time, they were playing a 5-man front. And I mean 5 on the defensive line. So that spreads out, right? If you want to get to the edge just got wider. And I think he made that bet, and he almost lost it. Because I'm sure he was doing his – you know what? I'm sure he was using the Hard Knocks as his scouting report on Dak Prescott, right?
Yeah.
That and Phil Simms. And I just can't get over that one.
And they were both wrong.
Yeah, well, because Phil was using his scouting report off what he saw on Hard Knocks. And I think the Cowboys purposely made sure that they didn't overexpose what Dak was doing in practice. We all saw it. We were there. They didn't. They had to go by word of mouth. unless they had somebody in one of those condos over there in Oxnard overlooking the practice field.
I don't think the Chargers have the ability or the personnel to really stack the line against our running game. Even with the injuries that we have, if Zach Martin's coming back, and we think he is, he's going to be in great shape, I think we're going to try and feast off of their defensive line. And I'm hoping that Dak doesn't have to, I'm hoping that our passing game itself doesn't have to be so prominent in this game. I'm hoping we can feed off that running game and control the clock on these guys and keep old Justin Gill's boy out of the game.
Well, it is interesting looking at the Chargers defense, and maybe you want to dive into the Chargers coming back here. Okay,
let's do that.
It's time for another break. Let's dive into the Chargers. It is an interesting team that is 1-0, trying to go to 2-0. We'll get into that when we come back on Mix Shots in just a moment.
At Smoothie King, we are blending goodness to fuel your greatness. Every blend is crafted to help you achieve your health and fitness goals. Smoothie King uses only whole fruits and organic veggies. You'll never find sugary syrups or artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. And unlike some other smoothie places, there are 0 grams of added sugar in many of our blends. Smoothie King is proud to be the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys. Place your order in the app or online for pickup or delivery. Smoothie King, rule the day.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. Before you can park yourself in front of the game, park yourself in a John Deere and power through your chores. Our Land Run package is a 1025R, 25 horsepower tractor with a loader, rotary cutter, and a box blade for $229 a month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay, no surprises. So don't miss another kickoff.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now let's get to work.
To Mix Shots.
And here we are. It's Thursday, and that means it's time to talk about the ultimate fan experience for the ultimate Cowboys fan. Join Dallas Cowboys United, presented by Globe Life, starting at just $20. Join now and get your fan pack, exclusive benefits, and more. Visit DallasCowboys.com/United for details and to join today.
Look at Everson. He's scrambling to join.
He put pressure on himself just so that he can come through in the end.
That's right.
That's exactly right.
Really
Look how good I am.
All right, this is our final segment here. We got 11 minutes to break down the Chargers a little bit. Let's start with the injury report. We focus so much on the Cowboys injury report. What about the Chargers?
Well, this injury report from yesterday shows that they had 6 guys that did not practice. Now, some of these guys maybe they needed a day or so to make sure they got to Sunday. But one of their big injuries, Brian Bulaga, their starting, I think he's the right tackle.
Yes, he is.
32 years old, 12th season, and he's got a groin and a back. And I believe he left the game last week with a back injury.
Yes,
so
he did.
that's
growing and the back.
Yes.
That is an old injury. Right? That's two
right?
old injuries.
So that's pretty. That's a pretty significant one for them. So maybe one of these backup Cowboy defensive ends can feast on a backup tackle.
That is pretty much an old man's couple of injuries.
Yeah, we know that one.
And then I believe these other guys are starters. Kyler Fackrell,
yep.
outside linebacker.
Another former Packer, just like Bulaga.
A knee. Chris Harris Jr., starting corner with a shoulder. Derwin James, their star safety, with a toe. They've got some guys that you would recognize that are suffering from some injuries. So that'll be interesting to keep an eye on there.
Okay. So would you like to look at their offense or their defense here?
Let's look at their defense and then go to
their
offense.
How about we start with Derwin James? Because you mentioned him just now. That guy is a freak. Came out of Florida State athletically. He has been injury-prone, though, in his career the last couple of years. He had a great rookie season, all-rookie team. Had 3 picks and 3 forced fumbles, 3.5 sacks his rookie year, and looked like he was going to be a perennial Pro Bowler. And then he missed, guess what injury he had his second year? It was late in the preseason. He had a stress fracture of the fifth metatarsal. Fifth metatarsal, and he missed 3 months with it.
It's the shoes. The shoes. They need to change the shoes.
Now, as we know, as Mickey has already cited early in the show, not all fifth metatarsals are made alike. Mickey's is much unlike DeMarcus Lawrence's, and we hope that DeMarcus Lawrence's
because
is
Mickey is much unlike DeMarcus Lawrence.
Period. And we hope that DeMarcus Lawrence's fifth metatarsal is different than Derwin James' fifth metatarsal, because James missed 3 months of the season when he had the fifth metatarsal stress fracture that required surgery. He also missed all of last season with a torn meniscus, but he is back, and now you say he's on the injury report with a toe injury.
He is.
Another guy in their secondary to look out for, though, is Asante Samuel. And, of course, Everson, you're very familiar with his dad, 4-time Pro Bowler, Asante Samuel Sr. And Samuel is a second-round draft pick. And he played well last week against Washington, and a lot of people really liked him in that second tier of cornerbacks who came out. He doesn't have the same size as the first-round guys that we talked about, Surtain as well as J.C. Horn, but he was a playmaker at Florida State.
Well, he might have to get into the game if Chris Harris he's the other starting corner. And you never know. He's, like I said, he's out with missed practice yesterday with a shoulder.
And Michael Davis is their other corner. Now, Samuel played 47 snaps, so he was their third corner, and he played 47 snaps against Washington last week.
Also, one of the other starting safety, Nasir Adderley.
Yes.
He's on here, too, by the way, with a groin.
And you know who he's related to?
Herb.
That's right. He is Herb the late Herb Adderley's third cousin.
Wow.
How's this? Hey, Everson, how's this for the Packer connection with this Chargers team? Wow. They've got Herb Adderley's third cousin, Nasir Adderley, their starting free safety, and their offensive coordinator, Joe Lombardi. He's Vince Lombardi's grandson.
Wow. Come on, man. Come on. This is too much.
Yep.
This is too much. This is set up for us to whip their asses. This is good.
Now, by the way,
this is going to be payback for the Ice Bowl. That's what this is.
So they're one of their starting inside linebackers, and help me if I'm wrong, but Kenneth Murray.
Yes, Oklahoma. Yeah, number 9.
Who played Pee Wee football with C.D. Lamb in the Houston area.
He's Fort Bend Elkins High School, Everson.
Oh, wow.
He didn't catch that.
This is getting too freaky, guys. No, I didn't. What did I miss?
No,
Fort Bend High School.
I had his high school for you. Elkins High School.
Even if it wasn't around here.
Yeah.
A place I never heard of. Yeah, only Bill knows these places.
That's a Houston area. And then, of course, up front, the guy that leaps off the screen. And so they've got stars at all 3 levels of their defense.
Right.
If you start with Derwin James on the back end, Kenneth Murray, linebacker, and then up front, Joey Bosa, which brings us to the problem of tackle for the Cowboys.
Before we move to that, we have to look at, as we talk about these DBs they have, these cornerbacks, young cornerbacks coming in, let's be real. We're talking about what we fear on the opposing team. They've got to be looking at Cooper. They've got to be looking at C.D. Lamb and going, bruh, we got our work cut out for us. They got to be looking at this passing game, whether it's Schultz or whoever it is playing tight end, Jarwin. They've got to be thinking, guys, how are we going to hold these guys down so that we can hold the points down? I mean, we always talk about the problems that we're having matchup-wise. They are going to have some serious problems with these young DBs, injured safeties as well. They're going to have some problems with that, and the Cowboys are going to look forward to eating them alive.
Mickey,
I was looking. I was looking at one of their. I was going to ask you. So, Bill, who's their other edge rusher?
Well, the starter at defensive end is Jerry Tillery.
Yeah,
okay.
But there's a guy named Uchenna.
Oh, Nwosu. Yeah.
Just stop.
He had 4.5 sacks last year. Now, Tillery is also a first-round draft. He was late first round.
So one of the guys that McCarthy pointed out on their defense also was Linval Joseph, the defensive lineman.
And we're talking about Tampa Bay and what they had in their interior on their defensive line. Linval Joseph, he's a former two-time Pro Bowler. He also won a Super Bowl ring with the Giants. It's going back a decade now, nearly. But when you look at Linval Joseph, and now he's in his early 30s, he was a second-round pick of the Giants 11 years ago, and then he was with the Vikings before landing with the Chargers. But if you look at his measurables back at the Combine, 39 bench reps, okay? And let's see, his vertical 31.5 and an 8.6 broad jump. On scouting terminology, if you total the bench, the vertical, and the broad jump, and add those together and get above 70, those explosion traits are through the roof. His is up near 80 with the 39 bench reps and a 31.5. This is Linval Joseph, and we're talking a man who's 330 pounds who has those kind of measurables.
So I assume he's the nose tackle.
Well, he moves pretty. At least 11 years ago, he moved pretty well for a 330-pound man. But Justin Jones is their other inside starter defensive line. He's 310 pounds.
So, Everson, did you ever play on a 3-4 defense?
Giants, yes.
You did with the Giants. So how do you think teams tried to attack you when you had kind of those undersized outside linebackers?
Well, see, that's the thing. The Giants never had undersized outside linebackers.
That's right. That Parcells defense.
They just didn't have it.
You had Carl Banks and Lawrence Taylor, right?
And then inside, of course, you had
Gary Reasons
was a great player, but he was lightweight when they brought in Steve DiAsi, who was they were attacking the bubble with Pepper Johnson, and after a weekend with Pepper and DiAsi, they might check in. Their weight might be 240 or 250 listed, but by the time the weekend's done, they have been drinking and eating. They're up to like 260. So, I mean, there's no guard that's going to be able to stop them from bursting that bubble when they attack those guards. So nothing was inside. You had the big guys up front as far as the D linemen, and outside you have Banks and LT. I don't know what the hell y'all talking about.
And then you missed Terry Carson, right? Terry Carson was gone by the time you got to the Giants, and he was 6'2", 237 pounds inside for the Giants back then. All right, I want to get before
that was undersized as well, by the way. Yeah.
There you go.
Not back then, though.
Well, I'm saying he was about 250 game time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The number was undersized. That was when he came into the league. He was 237. By the time he. All right. This from Terrell Basham today. Okay. When asked about the prospects of facing Chargers right tackle Brian Bulaga, who, as we mentioned, is dealing with groin and back injuries, here's the quote from Basham. I played against Bulaga last year, and I had fun with it. I just remember hitting the quarterback a lot that day.
I told you when we first heard this guy do his first interview, I said, we need this guy to be good because we need to do interviews with him.
Well, you're getting your wish.
Well, and one of the things that he was really good at Hard Knocks was imitating DeMarcus Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
So if he can do his voice, can he do his pass rush?
That's a good.
He
point.
was funny.
Everson, do you like it? Do you like guys who talk a good game like that?
Yeah, I do, because it really keeps you distracted from how serious everything is. He kind of lightens things up, and if they're having a good game, then you really feed off of him. So let's hope he goes out there talking trash and has a good game. That'll fire up the entire huddle. It'll fire up the entire defense.
If you're going to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk, right?
That's
walk the walk.
All right, I think that does it for this edition. We've talked the talk for the last 45 minutes, Mickey.
Well, it sounds like we should be able to see Jimmy here in a couple weeks because they're going to get their rings at the Eagles game.
Oh,
the home opener.
All right.
So all three guys, as a matter of fact. So it'll be good to.
So Jimmy goes into the Ring of Honor that night?
Oh, I don't, he gets his Hall of Fame ring. I don't know about the Ring of Honor. One thing at a time, Jerry said. He doesn't want to spoil this year for him.
That's
Whoa. Right. Yeah, one thing at a time. Yeah, Hall of Fame first, then Ring of Honor. That makes sense. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, that does it for this edition of Mick Shots, and we will talk at you again tomorrow when Mickey will walk the walk on a Friday, leading you up to game day on Sunday against the Chargers. See you tomorrow.
Absolutely.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!